Do 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 do. Okie dokie. Now then, hello, anyone who is shown up. I am Oswald Ernst, and I am currently trying out a new. My plan is to try to work and make a video game of my own, a Pokemon style video game, ideally. And today the plan is to try and make try to work on the battle scene. I think this is a good place to start. So we will move that back up. Oh, okay, not important. So the idea is need to figure out the basics of making a game battle scene. I downloaded a few sprites off of the internet from in the intervening time. I've been sick, and if my voice sounds a little off, it's probably because I'm still a little sick. But the idea, I downloaded these. These are from itch.io. They were by. Oh, I didn't save who they were by. I'll have to correct that, add it into the I'll which time? Oh, yep. Do not alt tab. Note to self. Do not alt tab. No. It was okay. So it was by the user. This one right here. By the user. I just saw it. I did pay for it. I paid him a little bit of money for it. I saw the username somewhere, and I'm just being blind at the moment. Oh, ToffeeCraft, yes. So I'm using a little asset bundle to work on the UI. I figured that's the smartest thing to do, because by doing that, I won't have to try to make programmer art botch together something. And so what I'm going to do real quick is copy. Control C, Control V. File. Export as desktop. Game stuff. There we go. Download assets. This was retro paid. So we're gonna do text. Nope. Text box PNG. Nope. Hit the wrong button. But yeah, so the idea is to generally just keep maybe there's a way to import a whole sprite sheet. I'm not sure. Export. And if there is, oh wait, no. I need to screw it up. I want to have it pixel perfect. Export to image selection. Export perfect. So then we just go changes back. Then we're gonna need this guy. Control-C, Control-V, file, export as menu box, PNG. Now, I think we'll need cursors, perhaps? No, yeah, no, so I think what I'll do is Control-C, V, file, there's link. And then, of course, the alternative. V, file, export, underscore selected, export menu. So then we go back to our game. We drag in okay. We'll create new assets actually. New objects. Object underscore battle underscore P. And then this will use sprite. Wrong one. Yes, and so workspace that will have object player. We'll have object player over here. Then we create a new sprite. Oh, 1 second. No. Anyway, we have yep. Let's just make sure it's working. Okay, so we make new sprite underscore layer underscore be edit image. We'll just select black. The creature film in with red. Move this into sprites. Create a new folder actually. Create group objects. We're going to start piling up a bit of them. Create object underscore layer underscore new sprite open. There we go. So obviously you can kind of see the general background's probably going to want to be something. Noticing that problem. Um, let's see here. Let's see if we can find a free image. Um, Okay, I don't know about finding an image. I'm just going to background sprite color. There we go. We will just make it a gray background for now. No, cancel. Gray, so we can see everything. So then we will create a new sprite. Edit image. Use purple and flood fill and black and wonk. And this will be object sprite underscore enemy underscore battle underscore XP. Here. Create an object underscore enemy underscore. This will use. Yep, and then create one more sprite. Edit image. Do little round guy. And then flood fill with blue. Rename player sprite underscore layer underscore battle and nope. And so then the room will have oh, oops, I'm on the wrong layer. Silly me. So we will have, well, and I know it's very crude, but the goal is mostly to create a an option for just to have information present and so forth. Delete that. We will drag in. No, it's not gonna work. Create group. Create group, geez. Sprites. Rename this to be create sprite import desktop game stuff retropade text box underscore text box underscore and so we can create a new object. Text box. And so a battle sequence should always have text box, but that's awfully small. Can we scale? Yes. So we'll do 4 by 4 for now. Probably want to do wider actually. So we can just sort of, yeah, there we go. 5, and then we will see because we need to create sprite import menu box. Yes, right. Menu underscore box. Object. And of course, drag the menu box. We'll scale it. There we go. This is obviously very, very rough idea of what I want to do. I have a lot more ideas I want to try out, of course. But what we'll do, so we have our sprites, right? We have added. So now we need to make a sprite. Use about text. We'll choose a good font. I am a fan of. Let's see if this works. Bold. We'll choose white. There we go. Yeah, okay, that's, yeah. Let's just see that one coming. Light. What we do is we can. There we go. The alignment up and down is weird. I think actually that's probably the best spacing is going to get. And then what we can do is we can just kern it a little bit. There we go. Kern it one less. Is line centered? No. Line centered. And 2 down actually. Kern it upwards just a little bit. Color slightly less pure. No. Opacity 70%. Then we can, because it looked something like, that's how you spell fight? Yeah. Looks weird. What we can do is we can Control C and then Control. No, that won't work. Now we can export as underscore height. And then file. Excuse me. There's going to be a way to do it in GameMaker, I know. Because I know I'm going to have to real quick learn how to write text. And do that. Create sprite, import, height. Yes. Sprite underscore. Underscore. Height. Yeah. So then we will have fight. We will have. Oh, tile set. Could have been. Some I should have imported. That's roughly the goal. Okay, I probably need to create an object. No, actually, I probably don't know if I want to do it through a separate object. Lead event. Okay. Now, really quickly. This guy up, add event. Key down, enter key. Go to room. So it should do that, and then play battle, add event. Key down, enter. Go to room 1. Yep. So now, real quickly, when we check play, just enter, so open up the fight. Okay, where are you? I wonder why it's not very fluid. Because when I hit play, yeah, movement's very fluid. Oh, I must have it on both. Oh, did I screw up? Is that what I screwed up? No. There we go. So now we can quickly test our battling stuff. Now, object player score underscore text box. Physics. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm going to rename this object ID. I'm in the wrong area. Underscore controller. Now then, I'll add you to both rooms. Underscore controller. It is script. Script. Oh boy. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Sorry, I didn't see. I don't know if you're here, Demonstrous. I'm sorry, I didn't see you. I'm trying to make a game. I know I'm kind of been very quiet. I'm trying to make a Pokemon style game. Is the long-term goal, and I am completely new to programming. So my idea. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ignore you. It's probably long gone. My theoretical idea, though, is to make a Pokemon style game, and to document the entire process of learning to code. which I know nothing. Basically, I'm starting from zero. I thought it'd be interesting idea. I don't know if anybody cares. And as you can probably see from if you watch any of this, I literally know nothing. Anyway, thank you for at least poking in. I'm sorry to ignore you. An event. I hope I'm going through. Yeah, I'm new to streaming too. If that isn't obvious, I never done anything for an audience. Oh, thank you. I'm doing well. I'm definitely doing better. I was feeling pretty bad. That's why, and I've been busy. First I had to get healthy, and then I had to get caught up on work. Oh, my music stopped. Oh, thank you. But yeah, no, I'm trying to figure out. So I don't know if you saw any of it. Here's the very, very crude prototype layout that I have going on. And I'm literally just trying to figure out how to get like text and stuff going at the moment. It's because we have this object here. I think I need to use the controller. I need like a controller to hold all of my variables. So hub room 1. This is the prototype testing ground. So what I think it has to do is create. Oh no. An object, add event, create. Yeah, this is Game Maker. When I said that I didn't know what I was doing, I did lie slightly. When I was in high school, I used to dink around with this. And apparently it's changed a lot. My copy was still valid, but I had to download like a different version from Steam. So, class, there we go. And so I found myself kind of in the unusual position of that. That's what I'm using. I'm using the visual script at the moment because it's been so long I don't remember any of the actual scripting. So we have the object. We'll create room class and then rename room underscore. There we go. Rename it actually room lowercase. And then in battle scene. So this should actually, if I understand correctly, yeah, I knew that was going to do something. I figured I didn't set it up right. Object controller. Create set global variable. I should have read more of that. Global variable. Object variable. Okay. I think maybe it has to be a number. So it might have to be a number. Name value. Just at 0. Now let's see. Okay. Now that loads. We then... this is different than I remember. Remember, there used to be a thing that would pop up that would show the variables. Oh well. But yeah, I feel like a bit of a bungler, because I am trying to have it. That's not it. Not it at all. Oh, the debugger opens in the background now. I see. Create. I need a event step. Is it step that I used? But yes, this is where my and I don't know if you're still here. If you are, but I plan to go back to clipping too soon. Oh yeah, I think actually you. I know you've probably heard it from other people, but you actually you've been doing a very good job. I think I'll admit I'm a layman, so I don't know how much credit, or how much that helps to hear. But yeah, so I think you've been very good. I said this is completely target. Okay, so no, that's a global variable. But yeah, so. But I was gonna say, I'm sorry, I haven't. I said, I think I mentioned to you, I've been being sick and then having to get caught up on work. I wasn't able to do as much clipping as I wanted to do. I will probably pull it back a little bit less. My original actual plan for this, like the whole thing was to do this a couple months back. Is my original plan of starting, and then I had some I broke my microphone like a genius, and so I was just waiting for a new one. Oh yeah, and yeah, if you whenever you get to it, I kind of scuff by. I don't think I made a thumbnail for the last couple. I need to make sure to do that again. I like doing it, actually. That was what the closest thing I've ever done to being a like actual content creator was creating some thumbnails for friends. Set variable class. If no, I don't want to do if. Start doing ifs. Room get. That's the get. Get current variable. Get. Sub. No. Get current. My hope is in the long term. Oh. Turn room index. Now that's a switch action. I see. Excuse me. IU_ target. So what we can do is we can do target. I should probably rename these, is what I'm guessing. From what I was looking at, it looks like I should probably not name. target RM underscore. There we go. I think temp. I am just copying someone else's example. Switch case constant rm underscore open. We will, and then case, I didn't know. Oh no, that's right. Rm underscore battle. Now, but yeah, I don't, my long-term goal, I think I mentioned, was to make a Pokemon-style game, which is very ambitious. I'm cognizant of that fact. However, I don't make any promises. Yeah, I'm trying to make an actual Pokemon-style game. This is currently me just very basic prototyping. My theoretical idea, in the long term. Yeah, super ambitious. And I'm aware starting off just doing that is probably a little overambitious. But as someone who has literally no obligation sort of whatsoever, I can learn as time goes on. And I have a very bad theory that things will be very kind of iterative. So once the basic idea is, like, once I figure out how to do each little step of the way, you know, once I can make, like, the battle scene and moving around the map and have, like, the text and stuff going, even without having the graphics set up yet or anything looking good, it'll just be an iterative process of design. So each, like, because I'm doing it like the old Gen 3 to 5, so it'll all be on a grid. It will all be a slow process of just build another section. So the main thing is to make the skeleton framework. Yeah, I have the ambition to get one to make. Oh yeah, that's yeah, it's possibly my overambition. But I started. It is crazy, as weird as it sounds. I don't know. I think given enough time, I'm doing a very simple version of a Pokemon game because I'm doing it all the 3D sprites. And I don't have the ability to do the graphics, so I will end up possibly crashing out when I run out of things to do long before I actually finish. But my hope is that if I don't just crash out, that I will be able to that's what I was saying, like, iterative on the process. If I don't end up failing, I should be able to just keep slowly working my way up. Like, the idea is like, if I can get the battle system going, for example, I will have the whole like it's going to take a long time for me. Obviously, I'm being very slow, but as I learn more how to program, how this stuff works, once the battle system is going, for example, I will be able to use that repeatedly over and over and over again. And so the project becomes less of learn and not knowing what I'm doing, and more of a I don't know how to put it. Yeah. Oh, well, you helped me with finding graphics? Well, thank you. Yeah, and that's the thing, is I should be able to. My ideal goal is, once I get everything up and running, is to, like I said, the iterative Yeah, and taking it slow and steady. Uh, it's exactly what I want to do. I want to try to stream. I don't. I know I can't do every day, but I want to stream just as often as I can before work. Um, so I guess I have to just lump it in here. I see. It won't be. Well, thank you, Second Boost. Thank you. Uh, I don't know if and not to be like I'm not trying to be ungrateful, but I don't know how much I want attention. To be honest, at the moment, I, I I I am a little afraid of it being very early, and um, you know. But thank you still. And if people have any help, I guess maybe because I could find people who'd be willing to help. Um, but yeah, my big fear is sort of getting people going where they're thinking like, oh, you're doing something, and then it's not actually. Uh, but class relative, but then it should be copy paste. I think. Oh, yeah. I mean, if someone who knows more, I have no problem. I'd actually have no problem working with someone. My main reason for just sort of walking, I just walked in, and I have no clue if this is going to work. I didn't think it was going to. Um, no. So let me just. Yeah, my main motivation has been because this is kind of a little ticking away in the background. Yeah. All right, don't do that because the duplicates get weird. It is that I wanted to learn how to do more things, but also just because I rather like the old Pokemon games. Leaf Green, Fire Red, Gen 3 through 5 really is where my favorite Pokemon experiences were, and I've enjoyed Pokemon since then. Like, don't get me wrong, um, it's just it's an experience I rather like. It was what I kind of grew up with, and uh, you know, whenever I play Pokemon, it's kind of what I go back to. And so I thought, I like these games, and you've had some experiences. Um, so it does. Okay, so it is working, I think, in the background. Um, you have this kind of thing that experience you want to do, and nobody seems to be doing it. So I kind of had this one day thought of, what if you just do it yourself? Why sit around complaining when you could just work on it by yourself or make your own? And with that came the slow process of setting up design. I have a top secret document that I've been working on slowly, laying out like the map and a lot of the creature designs I plan to use. And Uh, it's just a slow process uh, of learning that. I feel like I've learned a decent amount. To be honest, this is my second day playing around with Game Maker since I started, so not as much as you might think. But one of the things, at least with the design, my design document, because I've got, I want to say only it's not very super detailed yet. But I've gotten about like I want to say maybe 30 or so creatures. I have typings and a lot of the battle stuff theoretically mapped out. I used Microsoft Excel. I did it at work. Don't tell my boss. I in downtime I was using our Excel program to map out. I think some of the math for like a battle system. Um, what am I doing? I meant to have the object. Um, Create draw text. And yeah, that's oh yeah, we'll see. I think it's funny is because you're a good artist, and you have a lot of that stuff. I am the opposite. I'm pretty good with math. Um, get font. Do we have any fonts? Oh, maybe that's the problem. Um, so I have yeah, math and history. It's a it's a weird combination. I wanted to be a history teacher, as I think I've mentioned a couple times. That's why I kind of have random posts about history all the time. And it's something I still remember is that I was told going out of high school. The last thing is my math teacher pulled me aside and he said, "Why are you not going into math? You are wasting your time." And he ended up kind of being right. Uh, I the college didn't work out in the long term. Um, but the thing is, everything works out in the end. I have a job now that I enjoy rather than just anything else. And, and so, but yeah, I wanted to be a. Oh wait a minute. An event draw. I see. Um, so it produced weird things. Oh yeah, teaching is absolutely a bum gig. Um, I don't. Uh, when I was trying to go into being a history teacher, I was very optimistic about the way that works. Because I knew it wasn't like the best paying or anything. Uh, I love I love history and I love a lot of that stuff. I love the stories behind it uh, and so forth. It's history is one of the most human things that you can have, and uh, okay, I'm just gonna And so like that seemed, very good to me at the time, like telling, being able to uh, tell the stories of mankind, and being able to tell those stories. And what I found out very quickly while learning about it was that that is not what you're going to end up being doing. Um, you're sadly, script test fancy. Oh, um, it's just not what you end up doing. Uh, History is, and I don't want to be too political, but it's become very politicized in teaching, and this was almost a decade ago now. That I was crashing into that wall. I'm a little older than you might think uh, from my floundering, um, and don't I just don't understand the tech stuff so far. Um, okay, I don't want to do a script. I maybe should have opened this up with GLM code. And just relearned the coding, and I might have to go back and do that. Yeah, the nuance and complexity is kind of the most, in some ways, the most important part. And people don't like that as much anymore, as what I've fundamentally noticed. Um, uh, they like having simple little things they can tell you. Um, they're the simple. They like having that little relative simplicity, and and I don't want to be like one of those people who just blames it on the Marvel movie effect or like Star Wars, because that's too reductive. Uh, um, there's no font. Maybe that's the problem. I think I need a font. Um, but it's a matter of it's just a matter of that. Uh, Basic font. So this is gonna be another font. Or this is gonna be another ad set. I'm gonna flash. Oh, wrong menu. I'm gonna flash this up. This is what I'm gonna use. Uh, oh, I have Game Maker. I clicked on the wrong download. Preview. Oh, I have to log in. Oops, I'll log in. Here off screen. But yeah, people don't like uh, a lot of that, and so they kind of like the simpler stories where it's able to be presented as good and evil. Oh yeah, the like the hindsight and the moving parts. That's one of the most important things. Really, is like the recognition. You have to view history from its own perspective in order to understand it. Let me, I guess, add in the caveat. Um, that's the big caveat. If you want to understand like how things happen and why they happen, which is the most important, um, important, the most important thing, you have to understand. You have to be willing to look at history from its own perspective, and a lot of people just aren't willing to do that, sadly. And I don't mean that it's too critical. Uh, Too critical. Oops. That's not importing it. Too critical. But yeah, a lot of people just aren't willing to look at it that way. Oh, well, I'm a dummy. I didn't even realize this was here when you create a font. Yeah, it passed a foreign country. Yeah, presenting is like kind of part of it, but it's also like you have to want, like anything, you have to want to understand it and want to know it. And so I think a lot of people just don't want to actually know it, and because a lot of times it makes us think of difficult questions which aren't very fun. A good one that's probably gonna be less controversial is to simply look at the opening days of like the First World War. And I say less controversial. The First World War was, why did they fight? And a lot of times history textbooks will simplify it down to a few simple factors, but you really need to understand like the mentality of the folk at the time. And how that can lead not just to a war, but how it can lead to a war that causes such a big... Okay, so it's not... Step. Changement. Step. Should draw. But yeah. But yeah, it's that problem, it's a perfect storm. And the mentality, and you'll forgive me, you've mentioned streamer brain. I am 1,000,000% feeling that at the moment. But yeah, it's like it's one of those things where you have to draw color. And with without but yeah, without a willingness to dig into like the personalities of the people and then to read about like the soldiers, I think one of the best, if you want to study it, for example, you need to place down some moral judgment, right? Like it's oftentimes World War One is sometimes still to this day gets kind of treated almost with World War II mentality. Yeah, who's the good guys and who's the bad guys? Well, that's the perfect thing. One would argue that really in the First World War there wasn't a good guy or bad guy. Now, of course, I'm an American, so I gotta say, it's the smiling friends. I love my country. I love my God. God bless America. But there wasn't necessarily a good guy in the First World War. And yeah, because like you read about the involvement of the different countries, and they have to be placed in Toronto. Okay, and excuse me. So does it have to be draw begin or draw? Just draw. Let me change. Now, these will be create, add event, draw. draw value. And so you see this in these periods in history. You see where for basically history, like all of it, if you want to understand the event, you have to. Oh, it erased itself, but we're getting somewhere. I think this needs to be draw GUI, perhaps. There we go. See, it's that very slow iterative process. I will very, very slowly piece together how to do things. And obviously this initial version is going to be very scuffed. But yeah, that the history is, as I was trying to say, it's what I want to do is tell the stories, and I found very quickly there is a limit to what people like to hear with the stories. There we go. Now then it will be like. Oh yeah, that's definitely one way I think it should be told, is the tragedy of a tragedy of humanity, because it led to so much worse happening afterwards. And that's one part with it, like trying to tell, is you have to understand that more than World War II, as it kind of gets imagined, World War I represents a fundamental change in our civilizations. The whole society and culture that existed before the First World War is different than what exists afterwards. And that is, yeah. That is the fundamental thing. Like, it's so hard to get out of the mindset you're in. Yeah, you're right. I should probably use harsher verbiage, because it isn't. It is a shift on the same scale, more so possibly than even something like industrialization. It is a deep, fundamental shift in the way humanity has viewed itself, or correction, I would say probably Western civilization has viewed the world, than has ever been seen, possibly ever. Now, there's been, a number of big shifts, but the end of so many of the old values, the old states, the old mentality is what allowed the what you would see in the upcoming years, like you'd say, the horrors of the Second World War, the Soviet system, and then we can see that becoming export. It might be wrong to say exported abroad, referring to like China and Cambodia and so forth, but it does lead to those events. In some ways, the only relatively independent groups were like the Japanese, who were developing on their own still, but they were a heavy amount of cross-pollination. For example, so you see so much of that, and throughout as you go on. And uh, but yeah, I keep forgetting where I was going with it. But in general, the as as teaching history, for example, that's what I was trying to do. Talk about when you want to teach history. Yeah, you mentioned it. The streamer brain debuff is big. You are very distracted. Um, uh, oh no, wait, no. You are very distracted when you're doing something. I always had a vague, awareness of that, but I never. Let's just. Okay, so that's not. But yeah, to teach that a lot of that stuff, the nuance and complexity, a lot of people simply. Oh, I didn't have it in here. I had the wrong spot. Um, a lot of people simply don't like that. Oh wait, health bar. Maybe I should use health bar. And a lot of people don't want to learn that, and then it becomes, there's the problem of people taking it in a political direction, misunderstanding. Excellent. Or a political direction, or personal direction. Not where I want it though. And so it became. I went through about 2 years of really focusing on trying to do that, and I found nobody. I found as time went on that it was just a unrealistic expectation in the long term to try that. And I've had the thought, of that kind of thing. Yeah, and it takes that long effort, and if you aren't willing to put in the effort, and if you aren't willing to put in the effort to do that, to teach, which I was willing to put in, but when you have to when you're trying to teach someone, when a person isn't willing to put in that effort, it proves troublesome. Yeah, and you're trying to be accurate to them. You don't want to teach inaccurate information, and that was one thing actually. Did I set it rather than relative? Key press relative. So there we go. We are. Oh well. Improvement. You're seeing work. I don't know how much it's useful, but I'm starting to piece together how this works. And yeah, it's just that it became the realization that I wasn't the person to try to do the struggle. And also I had some kind of grim experiences taking classes. Um, I don't remember as many of the specifics anymore, but certainly I remember having um, having to deal with like teachers who kind of overtly didn't care about like the accuracy of things, and that proves troublesome. Or when having to deal with people who didn't care and wanted to moralize, and that proves a frustration harsher than, and I simply wasn't the guy for it. Um, uh, so what I did is I pivoted careers. I now have a job I rather enjoy. I still enjoy greatly my hobby of doing. There we go. So we can. Health bar is working. And I say working, of course, if it isn't. I mean, it's the most basic scuffed thing in the universe. But yeah, big joke. I'm hesitant to call a lot of it like a joke. I've seen enough. 2 years wasn't enough to really climb the ranks very far, but it was enough to see some of the inside. That I don't know if joke feels like the wrong term, but it certainly doesn't select anymore for, I don't think, or at least it doesn't seem like it to me, that it selects for quality. It selects definitely for compliance, and that's arguably an older problem than you might than you might think. I believe I believe I'm forgetting. I used to know a lot more of this, and then I've kind of forgotten it because it's not my more interesting points. But I believe America adopted the Prussian style of slog, definitely. And that's because I think a lot of it's because we adopted the Prussian style of education. And that was, I think that was like the 1890s or so when we had our first big public school systems being set up. Yeah, private school accreditation. Yeah, I don't know all the details. I'll fully admit I've only ever been to I'm a plebeian who has only ever been to private school. Or not private school, should be public school. The wrong way. So I couldn't speak for that one, but at least the public schooling institutions are all that Prussian model, which is less about, strictly speaking, in teaching and about building a like a good citizen, as it were. At least that's the theoretical idea behind it. You can debate, and I certainly see plenty of reason to debate how good that is. So it's one of those things. It's the nature of the beast is intended to be that compliance thing, and I think the big problem with today is that we just we don't have a good set of people trying to build up a healthy system around it. And yeah, it certainly has, at least in the modern day, it's doing a lot worse than I would say, than it is doing good. Uh, um, I can understand the theoretical idea behind it upon adoption. America's, I said, I don't remember very much of it anymore. I used to know so much more. Because it's part of, following up as part of when I was learning to be a teacher, this kind of thing was discussed, as part of your education. The idea, I get it, when it was first being put forward. You had no real formal education system at the time. So I would say, I don't remember the exact percentage, but probably you're approaching 90% of the population had no real education in any manner which was practicable beyond like a basic working class thing. And the idea, or at least the hope, behind the people who started it was to create a society where you'd have more people being able to do things and do things well for not just for not just for America but for themselves, and so you see there was a lot of like optimism. Generalists, yeah. I think, part of it too is the idea that is that a republic needs citizens who are, I would say virtuous. That's kind of the wrong word. It feels like baggage. I believe it's John Adams said something along the lines of like the republic or constitution are only intended for people of a good moral standing. Because the founding fathers didn't create a democracy; they created a republic, and they very explicitly, having common values would be part of it. But they very explicitly created a republic that was meant to be, where the people in charge were. The idea was to have them be a cut above the typical citizen, the typical person, I guess you might say. And so the idea with the later education reforms, as far as I understand it and what I read when into what they were doing, was that instead of keeping things limited to like a select group of people, typically the wealthier who were more able, the idea was to take the general population and uplift them to be that more higher class of people. It's a very utopian vision. You find that a lot in the late 19th, very early 20th century, was that most things going on. It's the progressive era, the Gilded Era and Progressive Era, are kind of linked, and one of the things that links them is a very optimistic view of the future and how society might be able to put things together. And reality kind of proved a little bit of a disappointment. And that's just the unfortunate name of the beast. But when there was the idea was still there, and it still holds on to this day. A lot of times you see it in the way people talk about matters. Oh yeah, Stellaris OST. Yeah, it was just the first thing that came to mind. But it was funny. I had the perfect upswelling. We are currently in the middle of the synthetic dawn, so it has that very positive tempo. But yeah, if you read, that's one thing I think if you want to understand part of history, one of the things I think you need to read are actually fiction works from the era too. No. I want to create a variable. It's a personal variable. Um, and one of the things you find in a lot of the fiction where they talk about like, and not everything, but in a number of pieces of fiction where they talk in that era, they talk about the future. There's oftentimes a very positive portrayal of where things might go. This is not a good example at all, but The King in Yellow actually has a weird mixture of that with other effects that aren't so good. But the idea that, you know, the future is heading towards towards something better is a very common theme. And then the First World War comes in and smashes it. Yeah, King in Yellow, fantastic read. I said it's like the worst example, but it's the first example of era appropriate fiction that came to mind. And because the future portrayed is not a utopia. Another one actually that's probably might sound weird to go with it is Brave New World, because for all Brave New World's a dystopia, like 1,000,000% a dystopia, but you can see within the dystopia, and ironically, a very utopian vision of the future. Still, just one that's been corrupted out of that. So, like, the society in Brave New World is a clean one. It's one that's run with an intelligence behind it. It's one that its leaders are not corrupt. Like they're educated, and their genuine goal is to help humanity. The only problem is that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and so it creates a technocratic nightmare state. And so you end up with everything falling apart. But it like that kind of optimism you don't see as much anymore. I know some science fiction you still see like the clean future, but you really don't see it as much these days. And particularly, it feels like the 21st century has almost entirely rejected that, which is sad in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good. I think, yeah. I do. I kind of agree. You know that. Try to hope. For the that things intend. But yeah. That optimistic view, I think, is just important for humanity. In general, like for people in general. It provides. It provides something to us that you don't get otherwise, and so I'm eternally disappointed. Click on the wrong object. When you see people like reject it. No. Switch. But yeah, and so not like it sounds possibly a little oh, interesting. That's the wrong global variable. But yeah, I love that. I love the optimistic view of things. And so I was saying, saying like the First World War kind of breaks down. You don't see it as much. You do still see it some. A perfect example is like the early Star Trek going into uh, going into later. I'm in the wrong object. Oh no, I'm in the right object. I deleted accidentally deleted the thing. Oops. Okay. So create. We have step. I want to draw. You delete the step. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of rambling. If I might just use if else statements. If yeah, and that's I think it's a good way to put it. I used to be more I used to be a more pessimistic person, and I'm trying to yeah, true comes true. Thank you. You say that, but actually, I'm nightmarish for this at work. To my poor coworkers have to put up with me, and I am eternally thankful that they do. Uh, and but yeah, I've been trying to be more hope filled. Uh, that just to be like, yeah, you know what? Some things don't look good. But we can go. We're getting better. I think in the long term, there's still hope that things will. That things will get better, and I think that's one of the critical things to consider is that in the long term, I think things are slowly ticking upwards as society goes on. Um, nope. Yeah, a balancing act. That's I think a perfect way to put it. That you have to be balanced with things, and so you have to moderate everything. Really, in most things, moderation is the best. The best, and it's gone. And it's gone. Okay. Let's equal to 1. Let's just tweak that real quick. Key press F, assign variable. Oh, no, it's relative. I completely botched that. Yeah, we have to break stuff again. Yeah, that's a hard one sometimes to know. To know the limits of like where can like what's the limit? Where do you go? How do you know what to do? It's I think Chesterton is the Chesterton's fence, where you knock over the fence, you don't know what it was for. It's one of those very tricky um, questions that um, that makes like kind of doing really a lot of things uh, very difficult. You have to be very cautious. Yeah, Chester Spence, yeah, classic. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying anything new. That's one of the key things. I'm very much a I don't want to say saying I defer to wiser people sounds like I'm not thinking for myself, but I do very much enjoy um, cribbing from the people who are smarter. Chesterton, C.S. Lewis, for example, are some of the. I've been reading a lot of their work recently, and they put things in a way that I am that's very nice, and uh, uh, I can't argue with them. I can't. I'm just gonna yoink. Let me make sure it's not just disappearing. It's just disappearing. That they put it in a way that I can't like compete with. So I might as well just crib from the masters. Try self input layer settings. Code in the draw. Oh, do I need Yeah, thinking for yourself because you're contemplating something. That's a good point. But oh wait, this isn't draw. What am I? This is this is step. I setting sprites is step. Um, there we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Um, but yeah, it is like yeah. If you can learn and understand from others, I don't want to say it's bad, but it does feel a little lazy sometimes. But it's not going to stop me. They the a lot of those folks, the folks of the past are very intelligent, and I am enjoy learning from them. Um, and I think that they do a very good job. And yeah. So like, if I can get, if I can get to be, sometimes it feels like if I can get to be half as good, I will feel, I will feel satisfied. And besides, I don't, I'm not I didn't go down the path of being it. I didn't go down the path of being an intellectual. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I yeah. I mean, that's definitely that's probably a better way to put at it. Uh, I come on, there we go. But yeah, I don't know. I just there's a lot of them. It's fascinating, like trying to read so much stuff and finding the way things have changed too, like the way mentalities have changed. I deeply enjoy some of that. In fact, I actually had the most painful struggle in the universe the other day. Um, I was reading about the First Crusade, and fascinating story in and of itself. I haven't finished, so no spoilers. No, no spoilers for 1,000-year-old event or 900 something year old event. Excuse me. But uh, one of the things I found out is that there are a set of uh, old chansons, French like epic songs about them, and I spent hours trying to dig up an English translation. Hours. I was so doggedly trying to find it, and I finally did find out why I couldn't find anything, and it's because the English translation only occurred like a few years ago, and they're still locked behind university libraries. And I was very sad, because I wanted to read them. I just wanted to read these old epic works. It is basically lost media. If you can read old French, they're publicly available. It is a bit of an ask, though, to... yeah, it's rough. It is... I said I could have wept. But it wasn't the end of the world. But I was like, yeah, it sucks. I can't read Old French. I don't have any mechanisms to translate Old French. One. Then this will be, but oh, not relative. But yeah, it's one of those things where that's just a problem that you find whenever you do anything. Yeah, how many people can read Old French? And that's like the big thing. There's probably, I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if there's like less than 100 people who could read and translate those works. Not to mention the fact that I presume, this is before paper was like a regular product, or at least the paper we use today, and, before the printing press. So it's not like there's many copies to begin with. So I can imagine it's a laborious, time-consuming process. I don't necessarily, I'm not too outraged by the fact that, oh, I have screwed up. It is drawing the wrong sprite. Oh, yes, I just copied and pasted everything. I didn't change that. I am not outraged by the fact that they have, commitments they have to do. It is simply the nature of the beast. At least it's nice that those works exist, and that probably sometime in the future we will see them come out, and preserved, right? They're preserved for the future generations, whereas maybe without this effort it would never be preserved to begin with. We're lucky they survived, or mostly survived. I believe a couple of them have some fragments that are missing. But it's one of those interesting things. And of course, it's not like it's accurate either. That's the other thing. It's a very heavily distorted telling of the First Crusade. There are a lot of actual good historical texts that deal with it. Oh yeah, delicate. I can only imagine the care and precaution that has to be done if that has to be done with these kind of things. It just I can't imagine the it would be a nightmare. That's why I didn't want to go into the preservation necessarily, but it's also amazing, and so we're very lucky to have so much of it that's out there at the moment. We actually there's so much of it that would have been lost or should have been lost, or would otherwise be locked up in a vault and never be seen again. We're very fortunate we have what we have, today, and we're at the point where now you can cry over not having access to there we go. So it is like it's the most first world like problem ever seen. But yeah, I don't know. I still I still wish one day to read it. Like many things, though, like there's so much with the First Crusades. I'm not much of a medievalist. And that's one thing too. Like going all the way back to like, I want to learn about history, right, or talk about history. Man, if things like you think it's hard to talk about something 100 years ago, talking about like medieval era history is insane. And basically, yeah, if there's more than one crusade, well, that's because every time we get to the is it third or fourth crusade, nobody wants to talk about it. I think it's the third crusade. Nope, it was the fourth crusade. I can't count. Yeah, the medieval era is probably the most misunderstood era in human history. And at least, correction, it's probably the most misunderstood like era in American general understanding of history. Just because we don't really know anything that comes out of it. The Crusades are like probably the average person, like the only thing they would really know about that comes out of the Crusades. And that's and again, they barely know anything. People barely know anything about it. And I'm even saying the Crusades, and that's like probably a misnomer in and of itself. Because let me tell you, there are a lot. And they're not just like you might have heard of this. A lot of people have, but a lot of people haven't. Like they're not just to the Holy Land. They're not just like they're and they didn't just happen in that one area. So you end up with for a lot of people, they won't know anything about it, or if they do hear anything about it, they will only hear the little snippets that they'll hear from like pop history. And I don't begrudge pop history per se. Like people wanting to learn and getting to learn is a good thing regardless. The only time I'll begrudge it is if they are being inaccurate, which unfortunately is pretty common with pop history. Whenever it goes from being a desire to teach to a desire to the desire to entertain exceeds the desire to teach, or the desire to like make money off of it exceeds to the desire to teach, I think is a little bit of a problem. Hot take. Pop science, yeah, that's the same way. So like, yeah, it's definitely a it's a problem that anyone can experience, or anyone can know. or have seen. I believe it's Gel Man, Professor Gel Man, Dr. Gel Man, I'm not sure. He talked about the idea of like Gel Man amnesia, where you read like a newspaper, a news article, and it talks about something you know a lot about, and you're like, man, this is just awful. I can't believe it's so inaccurate. And then you read a different thing on a different subject, and you completely forget the previous one, how inaccurate it was, and just take their word for granted. And that's kind of the big problem with like any of the pop stuff is so many people, they don't realize the inaccuracy, or they don't know how to even check. And it produces weird results. Yeah. Because then the Crusades are like the perfect example of something that's just been deluged with with like pop history stuff, with pop history that's not the most accurate, or is oversimplified to the point of it being a problem. Down if selection. Oh, wait a minute. I think I might have screwed something up here. But yeah, I don't know. People are on to revise history. Yeah, that certainly exists too. I can't tell you. There's a creator I follow. I like his content. Aiden Mattis of the Lore Lodge. He certainly doesn't need me to shout him out or anything. But let me tell you, if you haven't seen him, if you like cryptids and stuff, or the missing 411 topic, he talks about stuff like that, and I certainly think he does a good job. But I follow him. Yeah, love that guy. I follow him on Twitter, and one of the things he does is he gets into slap fights with people trying to distort history for their own means, and Godspeed to him. I've been trying to do that less because it is an exercise in futility. But yeah, like the way people will distort things is always kind of depressing. But that's always been a problem, like literally always. So, but yeah, I'm glad you love him. Yes, Sisyphean, yeah. I certainly think actually that's not even a strong enough word for, we must imagine Sisyphus is happy. But I cannot imagine someone being happy with doing that. I'm sure there's people who are, but it's just it is not my it's not my cup of tea. Or at least, a correction, I kind of enjoy it sometimes. I like the idea of I've had the thought of using it as a springboard, like someone doing that to talk about things. But I actually, yeah, not about you off fight. But I did have a very brief attempt at doing that a few years back when I was still in college, and I have ultimately given up. given up on that. Nope. Selection. I screwed that up. There we go. But yeah, I had the thought of using it as a springboard. Ironically, I think that's why I made the joke of. I did make the joke once of, you know, I need to compile VTubers being bad at history, so I could do that, but I wouldn't actually do it because I don't want to. I'm trying to not be get involved in slap fights and stuff as much. As I'm getting older, I'm turning into an old man. There we go. Look, slow but sure. I can toggle buttons now. You can select buttons. It looks wrong. It looks the other way around. But I am getting there. I'm right. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I'm getting to the point where I just want to do what I want to do, and ergo I have decided to make a Pokemon game rather than do anything productive with my time. Well, I say not be productive. Actually, I feel like this is a more productive use than my normal waste of time. When I was sick, for example, I just spent I spent like half the time sleeping and the other half of the time doom scrolling. And that's unproductive. That's very unproductive. Now, oh yeah. You have a good time with your stream. I think I've mentioned it. I enjoyed chatting to you too. Thank you for coming in. I won't be able to. Unfortunately, I can't catch your stream most of the time because you're streaming at work or when I'm at work. But they block the ability for me to watch yours, not just yours, but watch that. So I rather enjoy it though. I enjoy watching your VOD. So thank you, man. You have a good rest of your night and have a good stream. Okay. I'm actually gonna get done here soon too. Anyways, though, because I've made progress though. Fight run. Yeah, thank you. So we have enemy trainer. It's an object controller. Okay. Yeah, I have to get done here soon. Oh, this is a little bit of progress. I've made. I mean, that's something I made. I made health bars. I currently still have to control manually. I made health bars. I've got a menu with theoretically doesn't do anything yet, but I have a menu that's working. I'm going to erase the options here. That was just for quick debug purposes or quick testing purposes. Slow iteration. Now then, the object controller and event key pressed, keypad function keys, letters E. If variable global dot button selection is equal to 2, because that's our run, Let me double check. Can global variables be other than numbers? Player name, booleans, structs, instance IDs, player name used for true and false, such as probably should have used this encoding. Yeah, I'll just keep it with numbers. The code will slowly develop as to a pile of spaghetti, and then I'll be very confused at what I'm doing. You know, I'm actually, that's what it is. I'm Adeptus Mechanicus maxing at the moment. Where I will build something and then I won't understand what I am doing. And that will be the simple. There we go. I have options. My menu is slowly working. Now then, create object controller. Create. So the big thing is the object the object controller. The controller is going to be in charge of everything. I think that's just the way to do it. I hope that's right. Player underscore turn underscore check value 1. So I'll have the turn. It will set that it is the player's turn, and then if variable. Oh no. Selection is equal to 1. Then if stacking if statements, I know isn't the right way to do it, but return check. But I'm doing it for now, and I will probably have to scrub back through and rewrite a bunch of stuff. I'm cognizant of the fact that people made fun of like Yondev for doing a bunch of if statements stacked on top of each other. Excuse me. However, and that's enough of that statement. Right. I should open up a new menu, which will be TAC 1. Oh, my music. I need to figure out why it does that, or how to stop it from doing that. TAC 1. Getting a little blurry. Maybe this shouldn't be bold. Rockwell. regular. Nope. Bold works. Files. As run. Oh. One. And this is another one, actually, that I know I won't want to do that this way. Because attacks will need to be changing. And I'm going to have, like, a bunch of them. Ergo, I don't want to just limit but yeah, I am I think that will do it. And I was hoping to get to the point where I could have an attack, like where you had an actual battle, even if it wasn't with any moves or anything yet. Don't think I'm going to get there because I'm going to want to stop here in a couple minutes. I got to get ready for my work, and I am not used to I'm not used to really doing this kind of thing. I'm not used to streaming. I already feel like my voice is starting to get more gnarly. But I'm gonna keep doing it. Selected. It was very nice to Demon. I know. It's very nice to Demonstrous stop in too. He's a very nice guy. If anybody happens to be watching this afterwards, check out Demonstrous, D''monstrous. He uses his government name on jitter.com and on YouTube. He is a better streamer than I am. He is a VTuber, which automatically makes him cooler than me, because I don't have anything. So the idea, I think, is... the idea I have, at least, will be create... Object. Underscore attack button battle. Yeah. Attack battle menu. And then that's right. It's default to using the unselected one, excuse me. But yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. This definitely is a little bit of a ways up. I mean, you can see I have only the most basic of things. Like, that's all the movement tech I've gotten. Is the ability to have a wall. It's not, it is a little grim. And I can just walk off and walk back. And then if I press enter, I have my menu. And then enter will tab me back and forth because that's default. But, if I can run away which, hey, is pretty good. I need to have it where it pops text up saying, like, you ran away. In fact, I need to probably work more on a text box, a proper text box system, on my next stream. But yeah, I mean, the progress has been made, I think. The slow, very slow grind. But yeah, once I can get the battle system going, and I get the movement system going, and I'll have text boxes with that, and I'll have, I'll just have to create, like, NPCs, and, that'll be it. I think that'll be, then I'll be in the process of ready to start creating. Long, long road ahead. Let's just keep seeing where it goes, though. 2-hour stream, that's longer than my first one. I'll just have to keep working my way up. My goal is to eventually work my way up to where I'm used to and capable of yammering on for like 3 hours a day. Because if you're 3 hours a day, if I can get up to doing it just before work, that'll be at least, like, most days before work. That'll be like 5 days a week. If I can get up to 5 days a week, that'll be, 15 hours a week. And if I can work my way up to 20, or which I should, or up to maybe 20 hours a week, that'd be really nice. Basically doing a part-time job, learning to code and building up a game, and we'll see progress hopefully be made a lot quicker. I yammered a little bit too much, and now my throat is starting to get sore, so I think I'm going to have to call it here, though. Thank you all. Well, thank you to Monsters for showing up, and anybody else who showed up and just happened to watch along, or if someone's watching along later, thank you. You have a wonderful rest of your day, and I should see you tomorrow.